I'm Rafael Manuel. I'm the writer-director of a film called Filipiniana, and this was my graduation project at the London Film School. Filipiniana is a film that's very much about the Philippines, and it's very much about a milieu in the Philippines that isn't often represented in on cinema. It's about the country club milieu and the golf course milieu that's very prevalent in the Philippines, and it's about one of the most um, marginalized, I guess, characters or personnel in that milieu, which is a T-girl. So for those of you that don't know, in the Philippines, in the golf course milieu, we have T-girls. And T-girls are girls that spend the whole day sitting down on a stool, barely 1 foot above the ground. And the whole day they spend serving golf balls, teeing up golf balls for golfers to hit as they swing their steel clubs just like inches away from these girls' faces. I think Filipiniana, especially in the way that it's spelled with the enye, is I guess it's an ode to our to the Philippine Spanish colonial roots. I think I like the word Filipiniana as well because it's like an homage as well to kind of like how Americana deals with which is also another one of America being another one of our colonial masters, our previous colonial masters, is refers to anything in culture, whether it be literature or music, that refers to something that's American and like anything that has to do with American. Filipiniana refers to anything that has to do with Filipino culture. So for me, it's a combination of that word and the way that that word is spelled that kind of gives a clue as to what comprises Filipino culture and an ode to our colonial roots, which is kind of absurd given the fact that that a lot of people are homeless in the Philippines. And you have this contrast of how there's so many homeless people in the Philippines, but then you have these large, like these vast, substantial amounts of land that are devoted just for a few to play to play golf on a golf course. I think also when you take a look at like the reality of golf courses now as well, and golf tourism in the Philippines, in that it's cheaper for Northern Asians, for the richer Asians, to fly to the Philippines and to play golf as opposed to play golf in their own countries. Um, yeah, it gives you, I guess, a sneak peek into like the future of our own colonial roots. In that, are we just trading in, American imperialism for like Chinese or Japanese neoliberalism? Obviously, the actress that played Isabel in the film, her name's Jory Bella Goto, and she contributed a lot to that character in terms of, like, for me, what was important in portraying Isabel was, despite the lack of verticality in her immediate horizon, that she was able to project this sort of autonomy within the system that's stacked against her, that's built inherently against her, and which is funny because like there are only certain things that she can do to sort of express that autonomy. It's like going out into the golf course, or like smoking cigarettes, or stealing a taste of the cake, and these are very small micro acts, micro forms of resistance that within the context of that little bubble kind of are meant to represent a broader sense of resistance to the system. So yeah, with Filipiniana, we're very interested in developing an aesthetic of oppression. And I think first and foremost, the what you'll notice about our particular, I guess, aesthetic is the use of 4x3. And the thing is, with 4x3, because you're limited width wise, we have to think more vertical wise. And I feel that lends itself with communicating the themes of the different layers and different, I guess, axes of power within the milieu. Another thing I feel that you'll notice with the film is how like 99.9% of our shots are static, and very, very formally composed. And I think while some filmmakers like to, I guess, like try to get to the truth or try to reveal the truth, I like to focus on the artifice and like the artificiality. And for me, that is a truth within itself. And so, for me, the static frames and the well composed shots and like how everything's a bit symmetrical and a bit very formal and composed, like goes with the theme of the country club and like kind of like the form of the country club and how it's a very artificial, very artificial world. As well as aesthetically, I think also we paid a lot of attention to color and kind of like a very restricted use of color, because for me this was very important as well in communicating the artificiality of the world. We tried to reinforce it through a couple of ways, like oddly, like you said, in terms of the whole film revolves around her humming this tune and not remembering the lyrics to the tune. And she only really remembers the lyrics when she's forced to sing that song in karaoke. Um, and actually, it's when she starts singing the song and starts finding out about the lyrics that she realizes that it's actually a Filipino folk song that's very common in the Philippines. And the story of the song, I feel, parallels very well her day and her like her everyday. And it's a song about a fisherman who spends the whole day fishing just so he can catch a fish to sell in the market and earn up just enough money to buy some rum. And so it's a very cyclical song, and which is meant to parallel her cyclical life and the lack of verticality in her life. I feel also in that karaoke scene is the first time you see the camera move, and maybe that helps with the catharsis because the whole time we're set on sticks, and then now we have this very slow, very long dolly into her face, and in the end we kind of we wanted to frame her face in kind of like in a postcard kind of thing, because if you notice the backdrop has had to do with like palm trees, and so we focus in on her face against that backdrop of palm trees, but she's in this really rundown karaoke bar in the middle of a like an urban metropolis. And if you notice, we frame her face in full, and then the people that are beside her are still within frame, but they're kind of like half in, half out. And we wanted to show kind of like, I guess, her loneliness within that context, that she's in the middle of this group, but she's alone because she alone gets the meaning of that song. She realizes the meaning of that song. I think for me, the perfect film school would be the film school where everyone gets to make films. I guess I come from a film school wherein it's very competitive in terms of not everyone gets to direct. You have to pitch, and it's only the ones that get voted by your peers and your classmates, and the jury that are able to make those films. So out of, say, let's say every cohort or every batch has like 36, 38 directors. People who want to be directors. Only 6 or 7 within the term will get to direct, and I understand why they have to do that. Um, and I guess it also prepares you for the competitiveness of the real world. When everyone's trying to get funding and grants, and like not everyone can make their films right away. But then I don't know. I feel like in film school, especially because you're spending so much money, and because there's no better way, especially if you want to be a director, to learn how to direct other than directing. Like a perfect film school for me is a film school wherein everyone gets to make their films.